my name's Michelle Irwin and you're watching another episode of Retail Media Thursdays. Despite meeting today's guest in Chicago when we were filming our stateside editions, which by the way, if you haven't watched already, you definitely should, we are now back on English soil in the city of Nottingham, visiting Ollie Shayer from Boots. Hey Ollie, welcome to Retail Media Thursdays.
Amazing to be here, really love to be here. Lovely to be in Nottingham with you.
I know, it's great to be here and such a great view.
Yeah, it's a lovely part of Nottingham. We're here down by the canal, so it's really, really nice here.
So do you want to introduce which pub we're at?
Yes, so we're at the Canal House in Nottingham. So this is a building from the 18th century. So this is a really old Nottingham building, part of the canal district here. Really beautiful and an incredible selection of beer as well.
That's always important.
Very important.
I love it. You can actually, for anyone visiting, you can actually go in and there's a canal barge in the actual pub itself.
Yeah, there's a full waterway through the, it's really, really nice.
It's incredible. So do you want to introduce yourself properly and tell us a bit more about your role at Boots?
Yeah, of course, no problem at all. So I'm Oliver Shayer, I'm the Omni Media Director at Boots. So I look after two parts of my role. One half of my role is I look after Boots' core media, so the media that we buy ourselves, how we invest across channels like TV, through to PPC, so from above the funnel to below the funnel. And then the other half of my role is I look after Boots media group, so our retail media group. So I kind of get the chance to work across both strands of kind of media, which is really great.
A big role.
It keeps me busy, yeah, definitely.
I'm sure
it's definitely not quiet.
Okay, so before we get into retail media, we always ask what your peak of the week has been.
Yeah, so it's been a big week actually for us. So probably I'd say two. As a media person, love cinema, big fan of cinema. It's been a big cinema week, so we obviously had the launch of Barbie, so we had some activity in that from Boots, which was really amazing, which has been incredible. And then I also saw Oppenheimer on Sunday, which was really good from a personal perspective, incredible film, really.
No spoilers,
no
going
spoilers.
on Sunday.
I promise no spoilers, which was great. And then Monday night was Love Island finale for us, so we have a long-standing partnership with Love Island, and it was brilliant. It's the second season we've done this year, so coming to an end. So yeah, felt like the end of kind of a little bit of end of our summer part there before we start to think about what's coming after that at the end of the year.
Very fun, and we'll come back to Love Island later.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler. So getting into the retail media side of things, you just mentioned that your role is obviously looking after the core media, like promoting Boots, and also the retail media group, so giving brands the opportunity to use Boots properties to promote themselves.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you keep those two separate?
Yeah, I think I've always thought about it as kind of think about it holistically as media. So what's been really interesting over the last kind of 2 years has been kind of the way in which retail media is increasingly being seen as just holistically as media. And I think when we work with brand partners, we've seen that evolution to it being seen as kind of holistic media. So rather than being thought of media that you buy that's probably for, say, promoting campaigns and activity there, and the media that you promote for activation, I think now it's increasingly coming together more and more. And so I think that's been a big factor in it. And I think eventually you'll see it all kind of cascade together into one media part. But we definitely, from a Boots perspective, we do a lot of cross-pollination. So we see work that we do in the kind of Boots side that kind of crosses over into BMG, and then also the other way. So I think we've got lots of learnings on both sides, and the teams are really close, so they work together quite regularly. So yeah, definitely I think different kind of objectives for them, but overall it's a really close fit. And I think, as I said, we see brand partners kind of growing that role of it becoming much more kind of full funnel holistic from a media perspective.
What do you think the opportunities are for those brand partners and for consumers? Like, what are the benefits of the two teams kind of coming more together and not treating them in silos and having retail media off to one side?
Yeah, I think it's a really important piece. I think the critical thing is the customer doesn't see the variation. So the customer doesn't see a variation between maybe what you show them on TV versus maybe what you show them in store. And I think that's the big opportunity, is to bring that really closer together. Gives you that real consistent path to purchase, and I think customers expect that kind of more kind of holistic experience. And what we've seen is that when you do that really well, it really kind of gives an extra X factor to the advertising you're doing and the return that you'll get from it. So I think we'll see more and more of it, and we see it even from our own business. When we get it right through the funnel, the impact is really strong.
Yeah. I think you're one of the few people that I've met who actually has Omni in their job title. And you are, like, it's putting the customer at the heart of everything. It's that experience that they see has to be flawless. It has to be completely consistent throughout every touch point.
Yeah,
it's so important.
I think it really is a key part for us. I think putting the customer at the heart of what we do. I think Boots has always been a customer-centric organisation. You know, we've always had kind of customers at the heart of what we do. It kind of goes to the ethos of Boots. So it's been great to have that, to have the ability to look across those two elements together and bring it together. That's been a really key part of what I wanted to do with my role.
Boots Advantage card was my very first Advantage.
Ah, excellent.
Customers at the heart of an experience. I loved it. I still do love it. I use it all the time.
Please continue to love it.
So moving topics slightly, you were speaking at MadFest recently, as well as Chicago, where we met. You talked about the need for retail media to move from hype to reality.
Yeah.
Do you think we're at this tipping point? Do you think what's going to have to change for retail media to kind of succeed in the future?
Yeah, I think it's we are at a real moment. I always talked about it in the session I did. I think for me it feels like probably 2 years ago when I started the role, there was a lot of discussion about what is retail media, what is it actually going to be, what's it going to evolve towards. And I think what you've seen now is a lot of the hype element is definitely there. You see the big numbers that are coming out. You see it particularly from the US, the numbers from Walmart, 2.9 billion in ad revenue. So there's definitely the hype around what retail media could be. I think where we are at is that tipping point where you're seeing a lot of retailers investing in their estate, a lot of brands and brand partners becoming really interested in what is the future of this, how is it going to collapse together into one media. So I do think we are at a real tipping point. I think the key for us is how do we ensure that continues on, and I think for me that's the difference between turning it from what is probably where it is now, which is a lot of interest and a lot of focus, to actually making it into something that kind of stays for the long term. I remember unfortunately long term in media, many years of the mobile programmatic, and I think our aim is not for that to be the case with retail media.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, the future looks bright at the moment.
Hope so, yes. Very much fingers crossed that it will continue in that way.
You just mentioned Walmart, and obviously we met in Chicago. What was your take from that event? I know we get a lot of stick in the UK that we're kind of behind the curve when it comes to retail media, but what was your take? Do you think there's any areas where UK retailers like Boots are ahead?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So it's great to go. I think great to see what's on offer there, and great to see what the likes of Kroger, Albertson, Walmart are doing over there. I think what was really interesting for me was the very heavy focus on the kind of online space, and I think there wasn't a lot of discussion about the wider environment. And I think what was really interesting was we heard some presentations where they were stating, online is still between 10 and 20% of their business versus probably 80 to 90% in stores. And I think that was really interesting for me, and I think that's definitely something you see kind of in the UK is a definite focus from UK retailers on that kind of experience across both of those elements. And there's definitely parts where I think for the US they have developed really quickly in some of the elements of their offer from an online perspective, but I do think that kind of holistic offer does feel like here in the UK we have some advantages there. So I didn't leave thinking that it's so far ahead from where we are, but there's definitely things that I took away, and I thought, there's real opportunities there for that. So yes, we did get a little bit of stick as the UK contingent, but I think it was really. I think I definitely left thinking, we've got some stuff that they want to learn from us.
Yeah. I actually saw a stat the other day where it was like 85% of paid of spend is still on the sponsored search ads in retail media. That surprised me that it's still so kind of huge.
Yeah.
I thought there would be much more kind of in-store, the audio stuff, things that are coming down the line now, but it's still such a big percentage.
Yeah, I think it's also, I think people looking to sponsor search as a way to get into retail media. I definitely think we see with some of our more advanced brand partners a kind of real distribution across the real estate. I think it will evolve. I think as people also see, I think it really links also to the measurement and the ability to understand the effectiveness in those offline environments as well as the online. I think online always feels that slightly more linear, so you can draw that kind of moment from the investment you make to the returning very easily and quickly. But I think increasingly that's becoming more possible across the board and across all the channels that we have.
You just mentioned measurement. Do you think that's the biggest thing holding back the potential of retail media? What keeps you awake at night? What's troubling you?
Yeah, well, lots of things though. So I think the thing about measurement is probably two parts. One part is I think we need to continue to have the proof points. So going back to really backing up that hype of retail media, I think we have to prove to partners and people we work with that it is effective, it is efficient, and I think we see that, and we have lots of really, really good data now after 2 years that's showing that's the case and the returns that it can deliver. I think the other side of that probably comes to a broader industry piece, which is about standardization. And I think we are in the early stages. You know, retail media is still very young as an area, and I think that part of bringing standardisation to it, you know, things about, you know, the length of attribution across different retailers. So if I'm a brand partner, I can understand the effectiveness for where I'm going to place my investment. I think is really important. I think for two reasons. One, it's about giving consistency, but also it builds trust. So I think you know, what we don't want to do is be in a place where we show lots of opportunity, but then there's questions as to the consistency and, well, why do I get this over here but not over here? So, and I think that part is a really important part for the future, and that's, I think, will help us go through that tipping point to making it something much more consistent for the future.
Very good. Well, I'm excited to see what's coming. The sun has really come out in the last few minutes.
We literally have had rain all morning, and this has just been incredible. So it's fantastic to see.
And the ducks have managed to stay away a little bit. I saw the man shooing them away a minute ago. So my favourite part of the show is always the quick fire questions.
Okay.
I did have them written down, but as you saw, the paper accidentally flew in the canal a few minutes ago, so I'm hoping I can remember them. You mentioned Love Island.
Yes.
It's going to be a Love Island special. I'm going to test your Love Island knowledge.
I feel like this could be a moment for me whether I'm going to get this right or wrong.
I really hope you know the answers, because now that I've not got my piece of paper, I can't remember them. So, the first one was, how many seasons of Love Island have there been?
Ooh. I reckon that, well, I know we've been working with them for 5. I think I'm going to go 12 seasons.
9.
Yeah. A slight overestimation of them.
Who were this year's winners?
Sammy and Jess.
Well done.
They were brilliant. Yeah,
I'm glad you knew that, because I could not remember the names.
No, they were brilliant. They were absolutely fantastic. I watched it on, unsurprisingly, I watched it on Monday evening to see the results. But no, I think they were really good. So.
Which bombshell from this year was also a contestant in season 2?
That's a great question. I want to say it's. I think it's Kaya, but I'm not. I don't know if I've said it. KD. Yes.
That was when I watched it. That's the only person I knew. I'm still trying to remember one. Oh, I know one. Molly May. She is the highest earning Love Islander of all time. But what is her net worth?
Wow. I'm going to go for 4 million.
4.5.
Wow.
Close. Not bad.
Good. It's incredible.
Not bad for a 8-week holiday at the end of it, getting that kind
really,
of money.
Really well for her. And recently also got engaged as well.
Engaged, and then baby.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, who is the voiceover? Who's the Scottish guy? Do you know
Ian
his name?
Sterling.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. Love Ian Sterling.
I saw him at Edinburgh Festival. He's fantastic.
Yeah, very, very funny. He's excellent. I think he's been the consistency across that programming on all the 9 seasons. Has been absolutely fantastic. Very funny.
Very, very funny. Very good guy. Well, it's been great meeting you. It's been good talking about all things Love Island and retail media, of course. But thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been really, really great.